Hello everybody, I just wondered if you can tell me if you're there and which country you might be coming from. If you put it into the chat, that'd be fantastic. And then I can see who we're dealing with, who we're talking to, and I can tailor the presentation a little bit towards what your needs are. So we've got another few minutes before we start, and we'll probably give people 5 minutes or so just to get into the room and get comfortable with what we're doing. Hopefully you can all see me, although I can't see you. Does anybody want to drop anything into the chat? Just let me know who's attending. Okay, so is everybody there? Would anybody like to say something on the chat to let me know that you're all happy and that everything's moving forward? We'll just give people another 4 or 5 minutes to join, and then we'll be away. Just looking at the screen now, it seems like there might be a little bit of video lag between what I'm saying and what you're seeing. So bear with me on that. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock. We'll just again give it another couple of minutes for people to sign in and get registered, get themselves comfortable before we start the process of how to accelerate your business. Because clearly we want to be efficient in our growth. Would anybody like to drop into the chat and just say which country you're from whilst we're waiting? Hello everybody. I know that there's a couple more people joined just now. Just welcome. We're going to give it just another couple of minutes to see who else attends, and then we'll kick off. Hopefully I'm going to do a good job of this one for you. Okay, so where are we? What time are we on? 6:02. So it's 2 minutes past 4. We'll start now, and we'll see if anybody else joins us in the meantime. I hope that you enjoyed this webinar. I'm really looking to try and make it as interesting as possible, and I'm looking for some participation from you in terms of votes in a poll, and also along the way I'll be offering up some collateral that might just help you accelerate your efficiency and your growth and scale your business. So there'll be 3 or 4 takeaways that you'll be able to ask for. We'll send you them and you'll be able to download and get some fun out of them in terms of accelerating your business. So there are, why is my technology not working again? There we go. So we're going to have 10 takeaways. So identify the challenges and the feelings and how that's making you feel. But essentially, you know, it's not about those challenges. It's about understanding the cause of those challenges. And so we really want to get to a point where you can identify the causes and then overcome them. And so there's a piece at the beginning of the webinar where we'll be talking about those common challenges and how to avoid them. We'll show you the right methodology to follow in order to get acceleration and to be efficient and drive change within your organization. And ultimately stop your profits from being sucked up and wasted. We'll give you some real life case studies and stories that I think will be able to help you guys grow your business. So as part of that then, there will be 5 key stages and we'll talk through it. But then we'll also give you a roadmap. And then towards the end, as part of that roadmap, we will give you or show you a document, which is the Future You document. And we'll talk a little bit about how to go through that document and make the most of it for yourselves. So hopefully at the end of this, you'll have a solid understanding of how to accelerate not just efficiency, but change, how to maybe become a disruptor, or certainly how to outmaneuver those disruptors that are in your sector right now. So right now, I'm going to start the interactivity. We want to get to this with a poll. So here is the poll. It's why are you one behind? So I'm going to ask you some questions, and those questions are about how concerned you are about engaging customers as technology advances and as technology. Oh, my dear me. Right, here we go. We're having a few technology issues, but we're here now. So how concerned you are about the changes that you're going to have to make because you've got customers and their behavior, their shopper behavior is changing. Either that or you're losing market share to disruptors. So as well as that, then number 2 that I'm going to ask you to vote for is, do you have too many manual processes in your organization? And is that a blocker for growth? Because clearly, if you've got people running around having to do so much work to stand still, that's a problem. Are you too busy but don't have the time to scale? Or are you limited by what you think technology can do? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And again, I can give you some live case studies. And then number 4, is it taking forever to become the future you? You know, we all know, without being political, since Brexit and with COVID, there's a lot of things going on around people being able to find the right employees and the right skill sets. So it's how can you tap into that skill that you need and scale to progress forward. So Harry is helping me out and Deepak's helping me out on the chat. They're going to pop some of these questions or these questions into the chat so that you can vote. Harry, Deepak, over to you. So once that comes through the chat and you're all voting, we'll come back. I'm going to carry on talking while you're going through that process, but we'll come back to that in a couple of slides' time so that you can see the results of the people and the problem that people are having. So common challenges and frustrations, and we've spoken about this, you know, have you not got enough revenue? Do you have budget constraints? Is there inefficiency in your organization? Do you have low customer satisfaction? Or are you losing trade, business, revenue to disruptors? And so really, as I said before, it's not about the frustrations and the challenges, it's about those causes. And if we can overcome the causes and get a collaborative approach, then we'll be able to move forward as a business and you will be able to accelerate. So what are the common causes as you see them right now, or as I see them right now, talking to my clients? So if you think in terms of common causes, there's one that kicks off straight away for me, and it's a lack of a cohesive culture. You know, leadership is key and absolutely vital to any kind of business transformation. And that includes digital transformation. You know, digital transformation or digitalisation of process is not down to IT. IT are the implementation element of the process, but actually successful business transformation is strategy led. It's part of the bigger picture, and it should align to the bigger picture and support the overall business goals. So it's not a once only activity either, and for business transformation it's an ongoing process and it's ever evolving. But that creates that culture of change, which people like. It's motivational. So just make sure that anything that you are intending to do is part of that bigger vision, is part of that strategy, and it's cohesive. The second thing that we struggle with as business leaders or as change managers is not getting leadership buy-in, and whether it's digital transformation or any business change, you know, we need the people on the top table to have the right mindset, and the leadership team are more likely to engage all of the employees, and especially if it's aligned to strategy and return on investment. So as I said to you before, I'm going to give you some documents towards the end of this webinar, and you'll be able to use those to calculate some return on investments based on what you're trying to achieve. So as an example on a return on investment from my perspective, so I was talking to a recruitment consultant a month ago, and we were talking and he was saying, oh, I'm so busy, we're really successful, we've got so many people wanting to look for new jobs and things, but he said we're so busy, you know, we spend half of our time running through looking through CVs in order to sift out the ones that are not relevant, the ones that are actually not even in the right country for the role. So I know that he was having an issue with people from Asia applying for jobs in the UK when they don't have any sponsorship. And his consultants, who he pays a lot of money to, were sifting through these CVs. And as I say, it was taking them probably 40% of their time. So it's really easy to resolve that and save them that 40% with technology. Because in reality, all that we need to do is put some automations into an online application form, and it will sieve or push out those that are not in the right country. Not only that then, but it will actually then follow up with another email to the people that are in country saying thank you for the application, etc., etc. And that would save them 40% of the time. That's an amazing return on investment for anybody. And we'll talk about some more of those as we go through. So legacy systems and processes, again, that's another major issue, and we've got another story there actually. So we have a client who has 5 systems for their HR team, and they have approximately 6,000 staff. And they have to look on each of the platforms for different pieces of information for different employees. And you can imagine how much time that takes when they're there looking for the right piece of information to do with the employee. It just slows them down. So, we can use technology, we can digitalize process so that we can create a dashboard where all of that information is there. And the benefit of that is clearly that it's going to save the HR department a lot of time. And by the same token, it's going to engage the employee, because they're not going to be feeling left out or as though they've forgotten something. And so there's some massive benefits to that. So what is a silo mentality? Whenever I do polls on LinkedIn and I talk about silo mentality, I get very few people asking or voting to say that an issue or a frustration for them, a challenge, is silo mentality. And I think that's because a lot of people aren't quite sure what we mean. But digitalization, digital business transformation is all about being business wide. So it has to be across the whole of the business. And I've said already, it's not an IT initiative. So let's break that down. Let's start working with internal teams. Let's align incentives so that quite clearly then, the objectives are company-wide. The last thing you want to be doing is having people where they're incentivized, but that's actually pushing against the mill. So get leadership teams, get your employees, and get everybody at every level involved in the process. Poor communications is another one. And again, clearly we can use every channel. I've got some statistics that I'm going to show you shortly, and I think that they're enlightening. So let's go through. So no definition of success or return on investment. Well, clearly, if you are not, if you don't have that vision for what the future you needs to be, then you're not going to be able to communicate it, and you're not going to be able to put a return on investment together for it either. Bureaucracy and organizational culture, resources and skill sets. Now, this is an important one. And again, I've already mentioned it, but if you are generally struggling to find the right people, to upskill your staff, or if you don't have a vision of what technology can actually deliver, then potentially your solution is going to fall short. And we'll go through that as part of the 5 steps. Or the five elements that you're going to need to cover off. Too many manual processes. Well, automation is so prevalent in today's environment, and especially with working from home, we can really make the most of that. Resistance to change comes down to how we manage change. And again, I'll show you the 12 steps, which will get us through that process. So changing customer behaviours, and this is really key and relevant, with COVID, which I don't believe we're supposed to mention anymore, with Brexit and other global issues that are going on. People are reverting to technology or using technology so much more to actually interact with clients. And in a B2B environment, Gartner are predicting that 85% of the purchase is going to purchase journey of a buyer within any organization is going to be digitally done. It's going to be online and without a face-to-face salesman. And if your profits are being squeezed because you're inefficient, because you haven't got the right skill set, because you're losing work to disruptors, then clearly budget is going to start to become an issue, and that drives the need for change. So you're combining, I suppose, the danger of standing still and then slipping backwards with actually the future of becoming efficient and automated. So I don't know if you know this, but 62% of employees don't like to be out of their comfort zone. And for me, that's a significant figure. I mean, that's half of your workforce. And so when we think about that, we'll bring that into the discussions that we're having. 74% of employees feel like they're missing out. Well, in reality and in real time, I mean, what does that, that means that you're not communicating effectively. And that's not you. I mean, the poll that was done by Deloitte and Concurrency, McKinsey, Gartner, basically is saying that we need to step up on the comms. And believe it or not, and this is ridiculous, but 60% of employees often don't even read their emails. So when we are communicating, we need to use multiple channels. So make sure that, you are getting people on Zoom calls and living and breathing that transformation that you're looking to achieve. We're going to define that first. So we'll start to talk about that as we're going through this process. So here are the 12 steps. And we'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to turn this into a roadmap further down, further in the webinar. So evaluate your current position. So we need to understand what our competitors are doing. We need to understand what our customers are wanting and what their needs are. And once we've got all of that information together, then we can go to secure management buy-in. And of course, before we start the process of implementation, then we need to make sure we got the right skills, either in the business or that we've got the right partner to ensure that they have the right skills in order for us to implement the change and scale. So by increasing the communications, we're then removing the fear. And by removing the fear, people start to talk. The last thing that you want is Joe in the corner, who's a genuinely quiet guy, being scared to put his hand up and actually talk when potentially he's got the answer to the question. So let's be collaborative. Let's remove the fear. Let's focus on the communications and let's secure employee buy-in. Because once we're enabling the collaboration, everything becomes so much more open. And then we can start to set goals, take action, review, refine, and scale. So the section, that first part of the webinar that I've just been talking through, I've written a book on it. And if you drop your emails into the chat now, then I'll get the team or myself will send you the common challenges and how to avoid them book. You better download it and have a read and use it. So I'm now just going to go through some additional elements. So what we've just done is really talk about frustrations and how that impacts on business and stalls, or you end up getting stuck. Once you've gone through the process of the 12 steps, then you start to be able to identify those opportunities for growth and for success. And you can really then start to identify how you may well become a disruptor, or at least stop losing market share to a disruptor. So there's 5 key stages that we need to follow. Scoping, which, as I've already said, we need to talk to our business leaders. We need to talk to our employees. We need to look at what our competitors are doing and align that to customer needs. If we then take insight from the right places, such as Gartner or McKinsey Forbes, and start to wrap all of that together, and your supply partners, then we start to be able to come up with some solutions. And that's when we move into the design of the solution. So it's about innovation. It's about bringing those ideas to the table and getting the whole of your organization to help you with that. Then it might be you might not have the skill set, but then you might need to reach out to a partner. If you've got an internal team, then that's fantastic. But reach out to a partner, and then you can start to develop the solution and the architecture. And once we start to go through that phase, we can then start to look at how we deploy and test and deliver. And we're agreeing timescales. We can monitor what is happening and what we are doing, and we can evaluate it. And once we're into that phase, we can then start to scale. And as I said before, you know, this process is a recurring, ongoing process. And so it will never stop, but it might be that you will scale. So some benefits and opportunities that are coming out of digitalization, of business transformation, is actually that, you know, 64% of companies who are digitally focused and digitalized process, including sales or sales and marketing, including operations, customer facing, are 64% more likely to achieve their goals, which is significant. And I think I just want to stress to you that these statistics are not my statistics. They're not Neo Technologies statistics. You know, you can see on the screen there that these are from Deloitte, they're from Forbes, Concurrency and McKinsey. So these are real, and these are taken and benchmarked across, well, globally, but across a significant number of organizations. So we have true and real evidence to actually back this up, but this is from McKinsey and Deloitte, and it's saying that digitalization, or the digitalization of processes, improves operational efficiency by 40%. A real life story for this process actually does hark back to the HR department, who and the recruitment consultant, who were both burning 40% of their time trying to just operate legacy systems or doing manual tasks. We don't need to do that. You don't need to employ 40% more people to actually deliver or accelerate growth. You just need to use technology. And now we get into the business development element. That rhymes. And so customer experience with digitalization generates economic gains of 20 to 50%. And so you can clearly see that. If you think about, again, the recruitment consultant, where his recruitment consultants were spending an inordinate amount of time sifting through CVs, and then technology can automate that process. If they then can spend that 40%, 50% of their time actually finding new clients and finding new applicants, then clearly the business could grow beyond anything that they could ever have imagined at no extra cost. So all of a sudden your profits aren't being squeezed. They're coming to the bottom line, and you're scaling. And that way you could achieve growth of 100% inside 12 months. So, you know, digitalization also definitely increases an organization's ability to meet customer expectations. And a brilliant example of that is, you know, we work with the largest housing association in the UK. They've got thousands of properties in London. And technology has enabled those customers and the maintenance teams to be super slick. You know, it's not a case anymore of logging a complaint or a fault on a piece of paper and it gets lost. You know, you imagine, think forward about what you can actually achieve. And all of a sudden you've got an app on your phone and you log the issue. The issue is automatically routed to the maintenance manager. It's automatically routed to either the contractor or the plumber or the employee that needs to resolve the issue. And it's also logged on a management information system so that they can then track and make sure that these things have been delivered or fixed quickly. And you would think about how that would help improve customer satisfaction and meet that customer's expectations. And you could take that into the commercial world so easily. So if you think you might be losing, if you're losing market share to disruptors, the chances are at some point you're probably going to lose people, employees as well. Now, if you start to go through a transformation, a business transformation or a digital business transformation, or you start to digitalize process to become efficient, you're more likely to retain your staff, your employees. You're more likely to attract new talent. And you've got a great story to tell of where you're going to go. So we also obviously increase customer satisfaction through technology, as per the case study with the housing association that I just said. So speed to market is vital, and I can't say who, but we're talking to another client at the moment, or another prospect, and hopefully we'll close the deal this week. But we're talking to them about how we can improve their speed to market. It's a B2B client. They're a SaaS operation. And they are scaling, but they need more skill. They need more employees. And we'll talk a little bit at the end of the presentation around sprint velocity, because clearly productivity for development and deployment of technology in order to maximize efficiency and growth is vital. And for some of our clients, we've improved that velocity significantly. I'm not going to say even how much, because it's just unbelievable, but it actually just shows how unproductive an organization can be. And so the client that we're talking to for the SaaS project, if we can double their velocity and their speed to market, they will absolutely disrupt the market. And it's a global, as I say, it's global SaaS business. And we can give them access to our teams, which allows them to scale. So I've written another guide. It's called Ensure Your Business Succeeds with Digitalization. It talks about how to succeed, what to avoid. It quotes the stats, and it might just give you some insight that you could start to talk to the leadership team, your peers, your colleagues about, and maybe just help you progress forward as a business. So again, I'm going to say, you know, please put your email in the chat and we'll send you that guide. And hopefully you'll find it enlightening. So after all of this, we've spoken about pains, we've spoken about the 12 steps and what we might need to consider. But in reality, it's about how do you get from A to B? It's about how do you become the future you? And this is, excuse me, this is where it starts to get more complicated and takes a lot of thought around that energy. And so this slide talks about what the things are that you need to consider. So what is your current reality? What does that really look like? What are your frustrations? How does that make you feel? And I suppose, what is the light bulb moment? You know, what has brought you to this point? What has brought you to the point of thinking, actually, we need to do something to change? Write it down. Imagine yourself in that situation. You probably don't need to, because you're already feeling the frustration. But imagine what your employees might be feeling as well, or your colleagues. and imagine what they might need in order to move away from being stuck, being frustrated or challenged, being running around like headless chickens trying to maintain the status quo. And then consider what the future you might look like. What really, considering what we were talking about before when we were talking about competitor analysis, employee insights, the leadership team, what your customer needs might be. And again, make a list and imagine what that would make you, how that would make you feel in the future state of your organization. Imagine how you might well want to satisfy customers in the future and what kind of technology would really allow you to do it. Because I don't want you to be here thinking, well, it's okay talking about technology, but you've already got an opinion on what it can do. Really think outside the box and think about, who would have ever thought that I would be able to sit on my sofa on an evening and purchase something online from Amazon, and the next morning it's at my door. Yeah, and that's a B2C solution. They've already sent me a notification to tell me, yes, your order's been placed. Yes, your order's on delivery, and Robert, your driver, is going to deliver it. But you think about a transportation organization taking that kind of technology and rolling it into their organization, and it would be radical. You think about a financial institution, and let's say a pensions organization, a wealth management business, where at one point, they would have had advisors coming to see you every month on the build up towards your retirement. Well, you don't need to do that. You don't do that anymore. You go online, you open the app, you look actually and think, okay, if I paid another £100 a month into my pension, what would that deliver me when I retire? And the calculation is almost real time. So that would really disrupt the market. And the other things, that if you start to brainstorm that, what would that deliver to your customers in terms of, it could just carry on growing, and you could start to sell loans, or you could start to sell them investment plans, etc., based off the back of what they're searching in app, because the technology, the AI, will notify the pensions advisor or the wealth management consultant, and they could then reach out and have that conversation face to face or on Zoom or Google Meets, etc. So really consider what would disrupt the market and how you would satisfy customers, and also consider what your future employees might look like, because they certainly won't be what they look like right now, and start to determine that as part of the journey of going from A to B to become the future you. And consider what that light bulb moment might be that motivates you to become the future business. And then we've got to fill in the gap in the middle, and really consider, what is the reality if you don't make that change? And, what will it mean long, short, medium term to your business? Will it fail? Will it start to lose revenue? Because there's a cost of inaction. And again, then consider how that would make you feel, but also how it would affect future results. Because when you're putting a plan together and you're talking about return on investment, you're not just talking about, if we invest £25,000, £100,000, £2 million, what am I going to get back from that? It's actually also, what is the cost of not making the change? And then the 12 steps that are, as I said before, circular or, evolving, actually you can roll that into a roadmap and start right at the beginning and work towards it. And I've got a document, as I've said to you before, where that I'm happy to share with you, that will allow you to go through this phase, through this process of discovering how no change would make you feel and how change would make you feel, and what that needs to look like, and what skill sets you need to be able to deliver it, to evaluate and to refine and then scale your business. So I feel like I've been talking a lot at the moment. I don't know if anybody on the chat has any questions for me or not. There's a little bit of a time lag. So please, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. It'd be fantastic to interact with you guys. And I've already mentioned return on investment. So, you know, the leadership team, the management team will always want to know what the return on investment is. And there are, as I say, partners out there who can help you do those calculations. There are partners out there who can help you imagine what the future you might be like, and then develop the solution and deploy it if you haven't got the skills within your organization. So this is the Future You document. It talks about the pains that you might be feeling, the frustrations that you might be feeling right now. It talks about the pains and the frustrations that as a business you solve for your clients, or it poses those questions. And then it starts to help you develop a roadmap. It's interesting. So I've seen some votes here now just coming through. As I say, there's a little bit of a lag. But 100% of the votes so far are saying that manual tasks are becoming a blocker. Well, automation is easy to resolve, fairly easy to resolve. And I just want to bring you to this slide here now, because you've seen the slides that talk about what Gartner have discovered, what Forbes have discovered, and McKinsey, by doing thousands and thousands of questionnaires to businesses globally, to business leaders. But what's on the slide right now are actual figures from Neo technology in terms of what we've delivered for our clients, and we strive to help clients accelerate. We strive to make them efficient. We strive to make them grow, or to help them grow. And we do that by being collaborative, by using all of those things that I've spoken around, about being collaborative and upskilling, about sharing through all communication channels. And these are the things that we've delivered for our clients. So, have we got any questions? Can you tell us about next steps look like to discuss projects with you or Neo? Yes, of course. So one of the things that we offer is an innovation or discovery session. And you can just, again, reach out to me directly, or you can put your email in the chat and ask for a call or a meeting on Zoom or face-to-face. But we'll come and we'll spend a day or a half a day with you, understanding your pains, talking to you about some solutions and how to implement them, and that's at no cost. Just on another note, while people are asking about Neo, we have been in the dev or technology business for a long time as a team, well over 20 years. And Neo has been going for about 3 years. We have 60 developers globally, and a UK management team and customer-facing management team, strategy team as well. So we go global because we want the right talent. We can also manage time zones. So we have one client, as an example, who build apps for, or build advertisements for in-app, so for some large organizations. And we do all of the back-end development work for them. So they brief us at tea time in UK time. And the next morning when they arrive back into the office, the dev has been done because we're operating in different time zones. So it's super efficient. So actually, so this is interesting. So we've had another raft of questions around, is it taking forever to become future-proof? And I suppose to some degree that is about becoming the future you. And so over the 4 questions, it seems to be all very evenly split. Interesting. Okay. Well, thanks for attending. As I say, you got any questions, just reach out to me. You've got my email in the chat there. And I look forward to maybe seeing you again on another webinar. The next webinar I'm going to do is focusing specifically on sales and marketing and digital transformation for sales and marketing, and becoming omnipresent as an organization in order to achieve growth. So keep an eye out for that one. Okay, keep well. Cheers.